Hi, this is Michelle Jackson with the Black Writers Workspace, and I'm here to conduct another amazing author interview. We have Phil here, who is the author of The Black Traveler's Guide to Incheon, South Korea, and he is going to talk to us about his book. We're so excited to have him. He was a part of the Black Ink Virtual Book Fair, and I promised several of the authors they would have an opportunity to meet with the community on screen. And so that's what we're going to be doing from time to time. So, Phil, tell us about your book.
Yeah, sure. I recently published this is my first book I ever written. It's called The Black Traveler's Guide to Incheon, South Korea. It's probably going to be first a mini series, depending, I'll say, how people, love it or like it or not. The reason I decided to write this book was due to a lack of travel content from a Black person's perspective, from a viewpoint, from somebody who looks like us. Now, admittedly, because obviously, when it comes to travel, when you look at travel content, it would be travel on YouTube, Instagram, social media, blah, blah, blah. Usually there is a little bit of Black people traveling, but it's like a small percent compared to the majority of the whole travel community was mostly dominated by people, mostly white people. And don't get me wrong, there are some of their content I love. I always watch on a regular basis, but sometimes we needed to have somebody who looks like us. Like, because obviously our experience is going to be different from a white person's experience. And the reason I chose to see Incheon compared to say Seoul, the capital of South Korea, or Busan, which is like the largest city, the coastal area. One, obviously due to pandemic, for one, because it would have been much easier and safer for me to research here and where I live in Incheon right now, actually. And two, I wanted to focus on a city that doesn't really get talked about it much compared to like Seoul or Busan. So I wanted to make my book stand out a little bit more. And that's what led me to write about the city of Incheon.
That's excellent. Compare the cultures for me. Talk to me about what's different about being an American in America and being an American in South Korea.
Sure. I always say the first one, the culture wise, is healthcare. I'll put that straight out.
Mhm.
I can honestly say, as an American, tell you, especially who lives in Korea for years, the healthcare is excellent. Is much more affordable than going to the doctor in America. Every time in a non-pandemic situation, every time I ever got sick, I'm like, oh, I feel sick. I'm just gonna go to the doctor. I usually will pay about, again, this depends on what city you live in and what type of hospital you go to. So just keep that in mind. Usually I'll pay about $20 to $50, we'll say, for a hospital visit plus
Wow.
prescription. Plus prescription. Yeah. So and they asked me why if I'm going to come back to the USA. Uh, but as an American, I would say you kind of have, in terms of ESL jobs, you do have a little bit more slight advantage because obviously, for most ESL employers, they want that American type of teacher with a various American accent,
Mhm.
so you get a little bit of advantage. And also, I would say as a Black American, I feel safer here, or really just in brought in jail and then back in the USA. Here, but
Right.
living in, yeah, because at least I
Speak
don't have
to
to
us
worry.
about that. Tell us about that. So the racial tension is not as high there, and you feel you feel safer
Mhm.
in South Korea. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, like I said, well, I don't have to worry about the police for one, unless I actually do something wrong, of course. But yeah, I don't have to worry about police. I can just go about my day, mind my own business, which is a nice refresher. And also, I would say the Korea definitely has a fascination with Black culture. It's more like, the joke Paul Mooney once said, everybody wants to be Black, but no one wants to be Black. So that's kind of that's how like with Koreans, like they love the hip hop aspect, and some of them will actually support Black Lives Matter. They actually did a little Black Lives Matter protest over the summer recently. I didn't participate because there's kind of strict laws for foreigners. You can't be doing, protests, participate in protests. So I had to be careful about that, of course. Um, I would say there's more fascination, especially as if you come to South Korea as a Black person, you will get stares, and there's no ill will malice behind it. It's just all out of curiosity because obviously many people have never seen a Black person up close and personal, especially if you start from the downtown area where you see more foreigners, expats, and you go outward, especially to more rural areas, to less popular foreigner areas, even to the countryside. the level of stares you'll get will skyrocket. Because again, it's the culture. Korea is a homogenous nation, so obviously they never seen somebody who looks like us, who looks like me. So I'm a 6'7", 200 centimeter black guy. So of course I stand out hard compared to everybody. So I'll get the most looks out of everybody.
So you've been there 4 years. You went there to teach, and you don't seem to be eager to come home. So
Right.
give me 3 reasons why I should travel to this part of South Korea based on what you wrote in your book.
Sure. I would say one, it's a unique city for sure because of the port city, so you have access to seafood. It's cheaper than Seoul for sure because Seoul, the capital, is very expensive. And not to mention, you can always find something unique to travel because it'll make you stand out because of the uniqueness. Because one, when people think of Korea, everybody's gonna think of the capital Seoul, which is nothing wrong with that. But you can at least brag to your friends and family and say, "Hey, I went to this city of Incheon, not to the capital of Seoul." And I always feel like maybe when it comes to travel, I always like I don't mind going to the capitals, but I also like to see the other small cities because I at least can see how the locals act, what they do, and not to mention you can always find something unique, some like a unique cafe you'll never find in the capital.
So talk to us about publishing your book. And it's an ebook.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
talk to us a little bit about what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome to publish your book in South Korea? And do you think those hurdles were different than those that you would have found here in the States?
Sure, sure. My publisher, I'm using a publisher site called Publish Drive. Have you heard of that?
No, I have not.
Excuse me. Yeah, so Publish Drive is a website where it's kind of like it was a website that was founded like a publisher company that's founded by authors for authors. And
Mhm.
how it works, like unlike your typical publisher company, they work with various like over I think 30 different vendors for publisher. They use Amazon, Google, Apple, Barnes and Noble, pretty much everybody, and a couple of books in the Chinese market too, apparently. And so how it works is you can upload a either ebook, uh, your print copy with ISBN number or
Mhm.
audiobook, and they'll distribute to the various publisher sites, right? And you get to keep all the royalties. And so normally you'll say, okay, I sell like because with Amazon, I can sell a book for $1, right? Amazon gets like that 35 cents, I think, right?
Mhm.
How it works is Publish Drive, excuse me, Publish Drive will pay, I guess, will pay Amazon that royalty fee, and you keep that royalty.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and so
that's
yeah,
I'm sorry. Keep going.
yeah, sure. And so that's what I liked about it. And mostly that I found it easier to distribute, and of course they have tools to promote using various Amazon advertisement programs. So they have that installed on the website, and you pay a subscription per month to for with various option payment plans. So I'm using I paid $10.99 a month to upload for the option to pay for upload 2 books.
And who did your illustrations for your book?
This was a guy named The Ants Arts. His name's Evan. I found him on Instagram while I was trying to look for various artists to promote my book to excuse me to illustrate the book. And what I liked about him is he actually lived in South Korea before, so
Okay.
you actually understand the culture. I think he said he'd been to Incheon before, and so that's what I liked about him. I liked his artwork. He kind of like this little hip hop anime type of style. So that's what attracted me to him. And so I think I'm something to use him again for my next book for the next cover when I start the next book.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm looking forward to getting a copy and reading it and learning more about South Korea. I'm very excited to have met you, to get that opportunity to meet someone who's I mean, very, very long ways from New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where I am. And having that opportunity, thank you to technology to talk about your work. And so, is there anything you would like for other writers to know about your work, the future for you as a writer, or just how do you leave us a couple of words of inspiration?
Sure. I would say when it comes to writing, I think everybody's going to be different. Every genre is going to be different. Work to your strengths.
Mhm.
Like obviously, I'm not a romance type of guy, so obviously I'm not gonna try because if I wrote romance, it's not gonna be high quality standard for me. So I think traveling, I put if you probably looked at my book, even looked at samples, you see I put all my effort, I put all my strength into it. Just play, I would say play to your strengths, use what you know. Definitely take your time
Mhm.
for when writing. If you think if your original plan was to get 2 months out, try to stick with that. If it's going to take a little bit longer, that's fine. That things happen, life happens. Also, don't be afraid to spend extra money on the cover for illustration. The cover plays a massive role for a book.
Mhm.
Also, if the cover format doesn't look good, no one's going to buy the book. So definitely look around. Be willing to spend a little bit extra of your budget if you can to get a high quality artist that you feel that will work a great cover for your book.
Great advice. Great advice. Thank you for joining us and for being a part of the community. We love it when you post your book, so continue to do that. And thank you so much for being a part of Black Ink. I hope that you will join us for the next book fair, and we will continue to spread the word about your book. Especially, I have a lot of friends that travel internationally very
Yeah,
well before COVID quite
right,
often, and I'm excited to share your work with them. And so we encourage everyone on the page to support Phil, to share his work. Um, we respect what you're doing. We love that you're over there. We love that you're representing us as writers, as well as us as a community of African American writers. And we
right.
just hope that you continue to stay safe, COVID free,
Of
and
course.
continue to connect with us. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Bye bye.
Bye.